This world is built off collaboration.
Profound experiences.
Create as scientists.
Putting yourself out there where we can do something new.
It's really beautiful.
How do you not want to be a part of that? You were part of the Early Career Leadership Academy.
I was.
Yes, the inaugural class. How did you decide to go into the ECLA?
I couldn't remember seeing specifically a leadership program within atmospheric science, much less one really dedicated to early career. This was going to be a field where I had to navigate that distinction between mentor and mentee pretty frequently.
Yes.
And so it felt like having some formal training in leadership would serve me well.
How do you think the program informed how you now think of leadership?
Everyone had these very different impressions of what leadership was that they were bringing to the table. And at a certain point, coming up with a specific definition of leadership wasn't as important as having a definition that was adaptable to the situation, and being able to see all these different people's perspectives really kind of informed the way that I started to look at leadership. I think that a lot of the previous sort of leadership ideas that I had were based on this idea that we had to come to a consensus as to what single approach makes a successful leader. And that, I think if that had happened at ECLA, I would have not been nearly as pleased with the results. I think having this broader perspective was necessary.
How did that in-person time impact you, your relationships with others in the program?
The in-person time was crucial. I think having the benefit of the amazing improv sessions that you provided for us, it got us to a point where we were comfortable drawing on the initial reactions that we had to each other just based on the pre-ECLA or the pre-in-person ECLA meetings that we had online. But actually getting to meet in person and to kind of play off each other and feel comfortable with each other. We've continued a lot of our monthly peer mentoring calls and everything. They continue to this day. I'm setting one up for next month.
Right. Was there a way that the improv science sessions helped you in responding to each other?
Absolutely. I think it facilitated the sort of evolution that happens typically over a longer period of time when you're getting to know someone. Mm-hmm. I think it put us into a situation where we were comfortable with being uncomfortable, if that makes sense.
Right.
And that allowed us to try new things. I think a lot of building a friendship, building a professional relationship has to do with taking a variety of small risks over a long period of time, and then seeing how those risks change. But the nice thing about the improv sessions was that we had the opportunity to accelerate that process.
Had you thought about improvisation before?
I'd done a fair amount of improvisation over the years.
Really?
I was in an improv club in middle school.
Really?
And in the drama club and all that. And it's something I'm very interested in. I have a lot of interest in the notion of what it means to play, which to me is making decisions and taking risks without having such major consequences,
Right.
and being able to feel safe taking risks.
Right.
So,
Right. I think of it sometimes as controlled experiments.
yes.
Right? Or you're creating a context in which you're like, oh, well, let's look at it this way, or let's try it this way. And you don't have to,
Absolutely.
as you said, you don't even have to decide and agree upon it ahead of time. It's like, let's play with this. Did you experience doing the improvisation or the improv science session at the same as doing improv?
I think that in a lot of more informal improv contexts, things can maybe get a little bit, I don't want to say mean-spirited, because that's very much contrary to the whole
spirit.
idea of improv, but I think there can be a little bit of an edge there.
Yeah.
That, for me, it was a relief not to find it in
Right.
ECLA.
For me, in terms of the focus I have in the improv is on the community building, on the ensemble.
Yes.
And I think people can think about improvisation as comics, not just being comedic, but that then somebody has to be a comic or funny, rather than that we're learning how to build off of each other's ideas and to let things emerge from one another.
I think that's one of the hardest things to overcome in kind of traditional improv is the impulse to be the one with the quickest wit and the funniest one in the room, which is inimical to being able to draw teamwork out of it, which is what you need in order to succeed.
You don't have to be the one with the solution. You can actually do it as a group, or, you know, now that we have this, let's do the next scene.
A lot of people enjoy the idea of cooperation as everyone doing what I say.
Yes.
Whereas it often entails a little bit of killing your own ego, just a bit, to be able to find the best in other people. It is important to have confidence in improvisation and in life in general. And I think that's really critical. I'm a firm believer in the notion that if you manage to climb a steep hill, your first responsibility is to turn around and pull someone else up with you.
Right.
And I think that spirit is pretty much underlying the whole notion of improvisation is you throw something out there, there is the expectation of yes and that everyone is going to support you. But the things that you throw out there also have to be valuable to everyone else as well.
Do you experience improv helping you as a scientist?
Scientific experimentation and feeling comfortable with jumping out of your comfort zone, that translates over directly. I think a lot of creativity in science and the creative side of science tends to get overlooked, which is an extreme danger to our ability to innovate and to create as scientists.
What are two of the things for either, you can choose for the board or for ECLA, that you're looking forward to continuing or adding something?
I'm really excited to continue with improv science, to continue improvisation and creativity in science. One of the things that I was most excited to see in the conference just the last couple of days, the Early Career Professional Conference, was a discussion of mental health. I think that was extremely valuable, extremely needed, and clearly very popular. There was a huge crowd in there. So that was good to see, and I'd love to see more discussion along those lines.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think one of the things that's true, and you can see this in different contexts, is the environment that we create where you're able to contribute, give who you are, play.
Yes.
Play is good for our mental health.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
yeah. Well, I applaud you and all the work you're doing as a scientist and as someone who's stepping out to provide leadership both on the board for early career professionals as well as in ECLA. I think whatever you can do and we can do to create environments for growth are really important. So thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.